I threw a pair of shoes in a hotel bathroom trash can in Cleveland, and I'll be honest, I'd paid $140 for them 11 days earlier. The left sole let go on the escalator down to the lobby. Not a crack. A full peel, heel to toe, flapping like a screen door. And of course, it's the exact morning I'm supposed to stand in front of 400 people and talk about, of all things, supply chains. You can't make it up. Here's what I only worked out later. That sole didn't fail by accident. It was glued on, not stitched. And a glued shoe can't be resoled, which means it was built on purpose to be thrown away. My father wore the same brand for 30 years. He had them resoled twice, and he was buried in a pair. His shoes were stitched. Mine were glued shut at the factory and sold to me to fail. Same name on the box, not the same shoe. And it isn't just my closet, it's the United States Army. There's a law, the Berry Amendment, that says the boots on a soldier's feet are supposed to be American-made. And by some counts, up to half of our troops are on duty right now in boots from China and Vietnam, thanks to a loophole for optional footwear. If they'll put foreign boots on a soldier, imagine what they did to you. In the 1960s, most shoes on American feet were made by Americans. In 2022, this country made 25 million pairs and imported nearly 3 billion. The industry didn't shrink, it evaporated. And the biggest names pulled the quietest trick in retail. They kept the American name on the box and swapped the shoe inside for one that peels on an escalator. A lot of that evaporation has a date on it, 1994, NAFTA, which made it cheaper to move a factory across a border than to keep it running in Maine. 7 of those names sold you out. 7 never did. If you're over 40, your closet holds both. Let me show you which is which. Start with the worst, and start with the one that hurts, because it didn't just kill a shoe company. It humbled the smartest investor who ever lived and took a whole town with it. Dexter, Maine. The factory opened in 1956. 800 people in that town clocked in there. In 1993, Warren Buffett bought the company, and he didn't pay cash. He paid $433 million in Berkshire Hathaway stock. Then cheap imports undercut the price, and it all came apart. The factory closed in 2001, and because he'd paid in stock, Buffett later told his own shareholders the mistake cost Berkshire not $400 million, but $3.5 billion. His words. He gave away, in his own accounting, about 1.5% of a wonderful business to buy a worthless one. Worthless on a balance sheet. It used to put 800 people in Maine to work. Number 2, Converse. The Chuck Taylor, the shoe on every gym wall in America. Converse went bankrupt in 2001, closed its plant in Lumberton, North Carolina, 1,200 jobs, and moved to Asia. 2 years later, Nike bought the brand for $305 million. Still an icon, just not an American one for over 20 years. 3. Florsheim. Chicago, 1892, the dress shoe your grandfather got married in. Bankrupt in 2002, the name bought by the Waco Group, and today most Florsheims come out of a factory in China. 4. Bass, G.H. Bass, Wilton, Maine, 1876, the original penny loafer. They closed the Wilton factory in 1998, and it's made overseas now. 5. Sebago, the boat shoe out of Maine, 1946, sold to Wolverine in 2003, then to an Italian company. An American boat shoe owned in Europe, stitched abroad. Number 6. Nunn Bush, Milwaukee, 1912. The shoe your uncle owned in brown and in black, and nothing else. Another Waco name made overseas. 7. Hush Puppies, the Basset Hound. Wolverine sent production offshore years ago, and in 2023 sold off the Hush Puppies rights in China altogether. The dog's still cute. The shoe is not the shoe your dad wore. Now, I'll stop the list a second, because I don't want you nodding along like this is a history lesson. That $140 shoe I threw away? When the trade press broke down a $100 sneaker, the real cost to build it came out around $28. You're not paying for the shoe. You're paying for the name on the box, and the name is the only American part left. So tonight, read the inside of the shoe you wear the most. I'd bet the name outside is American, and the 2 words inside are not. That's not your fault. That's the trade they made without telling you. But you can stop making it with your next pair. These are the 7 names that never asked you to. New Balance, the only major athletic brand still making shoes here at real scale. About 4 million pairs a year across 5 factories in Maine and Massachusetts. And the Made in USA label isn't just marketing, because federal law says you can't use it unless a shoe is all or virtually all American. New Balance holds that bar and labels it honestly. Number 2. Red Wing, Minnesota. The Heritage line is still built in that town, and Red Wing owns its own tannery, SB Foot, right there, running since 1872. The leather's tanned in Red Wing, the boots stitched in Red Wing, and they'll resole it instead of selling you a new one. The outsoles on the workhorses run Vibram rubber, which is worth knowing because Vibram is the same sole you'll find on serious mountaineering boots. It's a signal the brand is building for use, not appearance. 3. SAS, San Antonio Shoemakers. Started in 1976, still built in San Antonio and Del Rio, Texas. The comfort shoe half of you already wear, and the other half will by 60. The real thing, still made here. 4. Allen Edmonds, Port Washington, Wisconsin, since 1922. The great American dress shoe built with a Goodyear welt. The stitched construction a cobbler can resole. Some uppers are cut in the Dominican Republic, but the shoe's built in Wisconsin, and they'll recraft an old pair down to the sole, a funeral shoe that outlives the funerals. The Cordovan versions use shell from the Horween Leather Company in Chicago, a tannery that's been running since 1905, still family-owned, still on the north side of the city. That's 2 American companies in the supply chain before the shoe ever reaches your foot. The recrafting program alone takes about 212 steps. That's not a marketing number. That's the actual documented production process, and it's why a cobbler can work on them at all. Number 5. Thorogood. Made by the Weinbrenner Company in Merrill, Wisconsin since 1892, union made, and the workers have owned a piece of it since 2000, one of the largest American-made footwear operations left. Number 6. White's Boots. Spokane, Washington, hand-building boots for more than 100 years. What wildland firefighters and linemen actually wear to work. Rebuilt for years, not replaced. Not a fashion statement, a tool. 7. Danner, Portland, Oregon. Not every Danner is American. Plenty are imported. But the Mountain Light, the one stamped Portland, is still built by hand in Oregon and Danner will recraft it, built to be fixed, not thrown away. There's one more name worth placing on the map, not because it belongs in either list, but because it sits right at the edge of it. L.L. Bean in Freeport, Maine. They stopped manufacturing their own footwear in the 90s, so they're not in the still made here column. But they've held a repair and return guarantee long enough that it reads like a different kind of commitment than most brands bother with anymore. Adjacent to this story, not central to it, but worth knowing where it lands. 7 names that stayed, 7 that left. And the ones that left didn't tell you. They kept the box, the logo, and the price the same or higher, and quietly swapped the shoe inside for one that's glued shut and built to fail. I still think about that sole flapping on the escalator in Cleveland. I gave the talking gym shoes I bought at a drugstore across the street, and they held up better than the $140 name did. That's the part I never got over. The drugstore never lied to me about what it was. The name my father trusted did.